Right, Shalom, Shalom. First one was like all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, and Karkwadash. The honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and to all the sincere argument out there pressing the truth and sincerity. It's Brother Abaya. Just want to do I want to say quick lesson, but however the Spirit play it, and the reason for the lesson, is I was asked the question, what should we be doing, knowing everything that's going on, as far as the chaos, and you know, the, pretty much everything that's going on, Uh, well, and I can only, you know, allude that to one equation, you know. So, my main point, being in Second Timothy 2:15, but I'm Lord willing, go through this whole chapter. So without further ado, this is Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Mashiach Yahushua. When it says be strong, the word what's that? In Doma, Edomano, it says to be strong, to endure with strength, to receive strength, to be strengthened, to increase in strength, to be bold, and that's as a matter of fact, I get it in the etymology. Okay, so this is the etymology of the word strong. It says physically powerful, physically in effort, forceful, severe, firm, bold, brave, consistent, you know. And then I can leave it right there, consistent. So when the scriptures say, hey, it says, therefore, my son, be strong in the grace, that word grace, that which efforts joy, pleasure, delight, sweetness, calming, charming, loving, grace, speech, loving kindness, favor. Yeah, it's like favor, you know, favor with the Most High. The favor that is in the Yahweh Shai, which trickles down to us, through Yahweh Shai, because Yahweh, of course we know, well, we should know that Yahweh really not dealing with us, but through Yahweh sending Yahweh Shai, he's reconciling us, and meaning he's the mediator between, us and the Father. So through him, is that grace. The grace that is in Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, and the things that thou has heard, we all know what it means to hear, but I'll go into it. To be endowed with, to facilitate, to hear, to attend, to consider what has been said. So a lot of people hear, but they don't consider, they don't understand. It says to understand, it's like it. Understand, to perceive a sense of what is said, to hear something, to perceive by the ear what is announced in one's presence, to get by hearing, learning. It's like and learn. To get by hearing, learn. To give ear, I skipped that one. I mean, I can read it, but the thing that comes to one's ear to find out, to learn, to give ear, to teach, or teach. It's like to a teaching or a teacher, to comprehend, to understand. So hearing comes through understanding. And how do you get to understand? You know, the scripture say precept must be upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And then also in Psalms, I believe it's Psalms that says, through thy precepts I get understanding. So let me go back. It says, in the things that thou hast heard of me, which is talking about Yahweh, among many witnesses. And who are those many witnesses? You had disciples, you know, and the various other people that were listening. They were there, you know, witnessing, the miracles that Yahweh was performing, you know, the things that he was basically fulfilling. It says a witness in a legal sense, in a legal sense and a historical sense, one who is a spectator of anything. With a contest in an ethnical sense, those who, after his example, provided the strength and the genuineness of their faith by Hamashiach, by undergoing a violent death, which we know, like I said, witness doesn't necessarily mean death, but witness just means you were there, or you can attest to, you know, you can verify, verify, validify, you know, that the thing be true, you know, and we know that what the New Testament to be true is because because it backs up everything that was said before the law. And not only that, you had many witnesses that came up afterwards, including Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shai Slaka. The saying, "Commit thou unto faithful men." I want to go into the word faithful. That means trusty, faithful, a person who shows themselves faithful in their transactions of business. And this is this truth, doing the work of Yahweh Bashim Shai. This is a business, you know. We were hired to do a job, and that's teach the word, you know. When you go into the parable of the penny, they were paid to do a job, and we're paid to do a job, and we're all going to receive that penny, and that penny being the kingdom. It says, a faithful person who shows themselves faithful in their transaction of business, to execute of command, or to discharge official duty. One who keeps a polite faith, worthy of trust, that can be relied on, easily persuaded and believing, confiding, trusting. So and you gotta have faith in this thing. You gotta really believe. How do you believe? Is by getting into these scriptures. Putting precept upon precept, line upon line. That thou may be able. It's like, commit thou unto faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. All right, it's like a slight interruption, but it says, commit thou unto faithful men, who shall be able to teach others also. So you want to, one a person who's able to comprehend, when in a sense, give it some give this His word unto men who's able to teach others also that they may believe. That's not the short I want. It says, verse 3, it says, Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Hamashiach. You know? And that word endure means to suffer, to endure evils, hardship, troubles, to be afflicted. You know, so when you doing the work of Yahweh Shem Shai, it's not an easy, an easy task. You're gonna have hardship. You know, you're going to be afflicted. You're gonna suffer. You know, whatever the Lord will have you to suffer. It says, endure hardness as a good soldier. You know, it says, it's like, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who had chosen him to be a soldier. And the word war means to make a military exposition, to lead soldier to war or to battle, to do military duty, active, to be in active service. And we're in active service of Yahweh Shem Shai by doing the will. You know, we enlisted in this truth. You know, we swore an oath, so to speak. You know, when we first learned. You know, to like the previous scripture said. You know, to as a witness, to go and teach it unto to faithful men also. You know, it says, no man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. And that word entangle means to interweave. You know, so you're not supposed to get entangled with the things of this world, the worries and the cares of this world. You know, with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who has chosen him to be a soldier. Perfect. This is the cross reference. This is 1 Corinthians 9:25. And it says, every man that striveth for mastery is temperate in all things, meaning balanced. Now they do it to obtain corruptible crowns, but we an incorruptible, right? Which is that kingdom of heaven. You know, they do it for monetary gain and for their own pleasure. But like I said, we do it for that incorruptible crown, which is the kingdom. All right. So this is back in 2 Timothy 2:5. It says, and if a man also strive for mastery, yet he is not crowned except, it's like, I started again. It says, and if a man also strive for mastery, yet he is not crowned except he strive lawfully. You know, meaning strive the right way. It says the husbandman labor must be first partakers of the fruit. It's like the husbandmen that labor must first become partakers of the fruit. You know, so the ones who are doing the work. It says, consider what I say, and the Lord and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. You know, so going back to the word here, meaning to consider. You know, It says, consider what I say, and the Lord give thee understanding in all things. All right. So through thy precepts, thou get understanding. Going back, picking up good study habits. You go back, you go research certain words. Look it up in the Greek and look it up in the Hebrew. Remember, verse 8, verse 8, it says, remember that Yahushua of the seed of David was raised from the dead, according to my gospel, wherein I suffer trouble, as an evildoer, even unto the bounds of the word of the Most High is not bound. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake. He said, and endure all things for the elect's sake. So Yahushua endured it all, endured all the pain and all the suffering for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain salvation, which is in Yahushua Hamashiach, or Hamashiach Yahushua, with an eternal glory. So we are to endure that hardness, whatever hardship or hardness that may come our way. We are to endure it. With the scriptures, what it says, Sirach 2:2. It said, count it all joy when thou fall into diverse temptations. Or set thy heart aright and constantly endure. It says, verse 11, it says, and it is also a faithful saying, for to be dead, for we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. And we are dead to the world, and we are alive and awoke to Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, by doing the word. The words that he said, the words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, they are truth. Was that Yahweh Shai said, I am the way, the life, and the truth. So hey, this is what it is to be alive. Is to be, constantly meditating on the scriptures. To know the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Let's keep going. It's verse 12. It says, if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. And that I mentioned that penny, which is the kingdom of heaven. It said, if we suffer, we shall also reign with him. So we gonna get that reward. If we deny him, he also will deny us. So hey, if you the Lord, you feel like the Lord is calling you, or whatever the case may be. If you do not Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, then hey, and when that time comes, hey, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua gonna deny you. And it says, my people, just roughly quoted. It says, my people are ignorant. They have not known me. So verse 13, it says, we believe not, yet we abide. It's like, if we believe not, yet abide faithful, he cannot deny himself. Of these things, put them in remembrance, charging them before the Lord, that they strive not about words to no profit, but to It's like but to the subverting of the hearers. You know, ones that were subverting, to overthrow, to destruction, metaphorically, to excite of a spirit of consecration. You know, to the severity, of the hearer. Verse 15, it says, "Study to shew thyself approved." You know, and I really want to hit that word "study." It says to hasten, to make haste, to assert oneself, to endeavor, to give diligence. The scriptures say, "Give diligence to make thy calling and election sure." You know, and then that just means enduring. Showing consistency. You know, it says, "Study to shew thyself approved unto the Most High." And how do you? We know the word "approved" means accepted. And how do you get approved by Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai? Is by doing the work. In sincerity. In truth. Believing, enduring, without wavering. You know, a workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. It says to cut, dividing to cut straight, to straighten ways. So the only way to rightly divide it is to study. To put in the work, to put in the effort. You know, and that comes through lining up those precepts. To of course, you listen to the videos of other brothers who may have did a lesson on it, but you also do your individual studies. You go look up the information that they're saying. It says, rightly dividing the word of truth, but shun away from profane and vain babblings that will increase unto more ungodliness. So you are to stay away from, vain babblings, empty discussions, a discussion of vain, useless matters. So your mind should predominantly be on, the will and the work of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It says and their words were cankered, which I mean that's I don't want to go too far. Taking it away from the point. For you sincere brothers, who may be listening, and go back and finish reading the rest of the chapter. But yeah, my point being, and being made, and I'm gonna stop it, here. But before I do that, some of these precepts. This is 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 4. It says, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogy. Salaki for the slaughtering of words. It says, which minister question rather than godly edification. It's in the faith, so do. So hey, that's pretty self-explanatory. It says, but refuse profane and old wise fables, to exercise themselves rather unto godliness. It says, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane babblings. And we know that the word profane babblings means empty speech. pointless conversations. You know, to opposing science, falsely so called. It says not giving heed to Titus 1:14. It says not giving heed to Jewish fable and commandments of men that turn from the truth, but avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentious strivings, strivings about the law that are unprofitable and vain. So like I said, my point being made. Certain things you want to avoid, certain things you want to do. But most importantly, you want to endure. You want to be consistent. Hey, you want to. You're proving yourself to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You're not proving it to me. You're not proving it to to men. You're proving yourself unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And how do you do that? Is by getting into His Word and doing. You know, don't let the cares of this life weigh you down. He said, "Cast your cares upon me." Cast your cares upon Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. You know, get into His Word. Stay faithful. You know. So with that, hopefully this video was edifying. Hopefully it wasn't too long. But with that, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Rakakodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and to all the sincere Akim out there pressing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.